Um, we spent about 4 or 5 days in Da Nang getting used to the climate because it was very hot over there. It was a normal temperature was 110 during the day, and right there on the coast it's really humid too. So it was terrible. So they came in one day and they said, "Well, okay, let's go pack your bags up and let's head out." So I went out and I joined a uh, Mike Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marines, and we went out and we were patrolling in a little area called Tam Key, just outside of Da Nang. And I guess that's when war really hit me. That's when we were out there going through the bush, and the guy next to me was killed. And I thought, he's not going to get up and be back tomorrow morning. We're not going to play war again. That's when it really hit me. And so we went on, and that night we were attacked by a large company, our platoon was, of Vietnamese. And so we dug in. We were on a little mountain top. And, of course, all hell broke loose that night. It was constant fire. And I guess it was early morning, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, I guess. And we were in a heavy firefight. And the gentleman that was in the foxhole with me, which they weren't very deep foxholes, he had an M60 machine gun. And every 30th round was a tracer round. So the Viet Cong zeroed in on us pretty good. So I bent over to get a clip to reload my M16, and as I was coming back up, a mortar hit right on the backside of our foxhole. I immediately was like a big white flash of light hit me in the back of the head, and I called Corpsman, and that's the next thing I knew until I heard the helicopters come in the next morning and picked us up.
What happened to you?
When the mortar went off, the shrapnel went through my helmet and lodged up against the edge of the brain. So I was, it went into the occipital lobe of the brain. So part of the tissue had to come out. Well, I was blind for a while. I couldn't see. Everything was just a fog. And from there, I went on over into, they took me right to one of these little MASH units. Yeah. And that was the worst pain I experienced, was them trying to, my skin had already become baked and hard. They were trying to get that IV in there, and that hurt worse than anything. My head didn't hurt at all, it didn't feel like. And after they got that IV in, I didn't know anything until I was on the hospital ship repos, waking up after surgery. So they'd done a good job. They knocked me out, and that's my experience up until that point.
Do you still see that night?
I see it too often. Yes. When I came back from Vietnam, I was not in a really good mood. I feel sorry for my first wife because I was very straight. Everything was black or white. There's no gray areas. And our marriage lasted about 12 years. There was no physical problems. It was just mostly mental. And I guess back then we didn't call it PTSD, but I imagine that's probably what I had a lot of, but I fought through that. And as I had told you before, I had to quit school in the 9th grade. Well, I went ahead and signed up and went back to college. I ended up with a 3.9 average in college. I guess it's because I wanted to